Good day everyone, I am Baltazar Mosqueda and I will be discussing the lesson 19, Laws and Policies on Violence and Discrimination of the member of LGBTQ+. The 1987 Constitution, Equal Protection and a Due Process Clause. The 1987 Philippines Constitution states that the state values the dignity of every human person and guarantees full respect for human rights. Apart from this, the 1987 Constitution enshrines in its due process and equal protection clause that no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, and property without due process of law, nor shall any person be denied the equal protection of the law. Article 3, Section 1, 1987, Philippines Constitution. As the fundamental law of the land, the guarantees on equality, lawful processes, and the paramount consideration on ensuring human dignity and respect for human rights, and this provision serve as the basis for the protection of the rights of the member of the LGBTQ+.
Labels and laws may have changed, but lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and intersex people have been around for a long time. And it is time you knew the importance of advocating for LGBTI rights and the discrimination LGBTI people face on a daily basis. Let's start with terminology. We told you what LGBTI stands for, but there are many terms that can define a person's sexual orientation or gender identity. Sexual orientation is who you're attracted to. You might be attracted to someone of a different gender to yours, or the same gender, more than one gender, or to no one at all. Gender identity is what you feel your sense of gender is. Some people feel like a man, others feel like a woman. Others might identify with neither or both, or somewhere on a spectrum of different gender identities. Gender is a complex social construct based on stereotyped ideas and norms. Your gender identity is yours and doesn't have to align with the sex characteristics you were born with. For transgender people, their gender identity is different from the gender they were assigned at birth. Some transgender people choose to affirm their gender identity by changing their name and pronouns like she, her, or he, him, or undergoing surgery or hormone therapy. What matters is how a person self-identifies and your respect and support of that. For some people, neither man nor woman feels like it fits. Non-binary is an umbrella term for gender identities that fall outside of just man or woman. Non-binary people might want you to use they, them pronouns. So, from LGBTI, we know lesbian, gay, and bisexual refers to sexual orientation and transgender gender identity. But what does it mean to be intersex? A person with intersex variations might have genital, chromosomal, or hormonal characteristics that do not fit neatly in binary male or female anatomies. You should always be respectful of people's sexual orientation, gender identity, and what pronouns they want to use. If you're not sure what pronouns to use, you can find a polite way to ask. So now you know the terminology. It is time you knew about the discrimination LGBTI people face. There are 64 countries around the world which have laws that criminalize homosexuality. In some countries, you can even be sentenced to death for consensual same-sex sexual acts. Many of these laws around the world were brought in by colonizers, like Section 377 from the British Penal Code, which criminalized sexual activities across the former British Empire. Section 377 is still actively harming LGBTI people across the world today, but discrimination goes beyond laws. Amnesty International research has found Polish authorities not only inadequately protect LGBTI activists, but in some cases, they even contribute to the marginalization of people based on their sexual orientation or gender identity. And in 15 countries in Asia, we found transgender people who already face structural marginalization and discrimination further suffer disproportionately during the COVID-19 pandemic. LGBTI people encounter discrimination in many areas of their life, from family to the workplace. But activists around the world are working to fight this discrimination, and we all have a part to play in supporting them. You have probably seen and heard of Pride events, but did you know that Pride started as a protest against police brutality? Now, Pride events take place around the world, and many other forms of activism that existed before continue to fight for LGBTI rights today. While there is still work to do, these rights have seen progress in many places. Because of powerful action from activists, same-sex marriage is now legal in over 50 countries. Conversion therapy is banned in over 30 countries, meaning less people are forced into abusive therapies to try and change their identity. Many countries are taking steps to ensure legal gender recognition is possible to support an individual's sense of gender identity. There have also been some efforts to protect the rights of persons with intersex variations. So, now you know a little more about what these commonly used words mean, the discrimination people face, and the importance of protest and activism for LGBTI rights. We hope you use what you have learned to help fight for people's rights in whatever way you can.
The video shows the rights of LGBTQ and explain that around the world, people are under attack for who they are. Amnesty International campaigns to protect and uphold the rights of LGBTI people globally, including the rights of life, freedom, and safety. This lesson discusses salient Philippine laws and policies for protection of rights of LGBTQ plus. Also, it explains the salient anti-discriminatory laws and policies. At the end of this class, you should be able to determine the various Philippine laws and policies for protection of rights of members of LGBTQ+. Identify the different anti-discriminatory laws and policies and know the acts leading to violations of these laws and policies. Definition of terms. Equal protection requires that all persons or things similarly situated should be treated like alike, both as the rights conferred and responsibilities imposed. Due process principle that the government must respect all of the person's legal rights, as this ensures that all laws and legal proceedings must be fair and equal for all. Violence and discrimination. Despite widespread anecdotal evidence of crimes perpetrated against the LGBTQ community in the Philippines, most data on these cases have not undergone official verifications and collation. In March 2016, the Trans Murder Monitoring Project listed 41 reported cases of transgender people murdered in the country since 2008. Violence and discriminations against LGBTQ youth in education. A. Anti-Bullying Act of 2013. Republic Act 10627, Anti-Bullying Act of 2013, Republic Act 10627 includes gender-based bullying as a prohibited and punishable act. Gender-based bullying is defined as any act that humiliates or excludes a person to the basis of perceived or actual sexual orientation and a gender identity, or SUGI, Republic Act number 10627. B. Child Protection Policy, 2012. In cases where the bullying is committed by a principal, teacher, or any other school personnel, the law being violated is Department of Education Order number 40 on Child Protection Policy. This policy includes the protections of students from any form of violence regardless of their sexual orientation and the gender identity. C. Special Protection of Children Against Child Abuse, Exploitation, and Discrimination Act of 1992, Anti-Child Abuse Act or Republic Act 7610. Parents of children who suffer abuse at the hands of teachers or members of schools administration violates RA 7016 or the, the Anti-Child Abuse Act. Such cases can cover instances of physical, psychological injury, and cruelty on the basis of the child's SUJI. Violence and discriminations against LGBTQ plus in the workplace. A. The Labor Code of the Philippines or PD 442. The Labor Code is the national law covering employment for the private sector in the Philippines. With the exceptions of prohibitions against discriminations of women, it does not contain any provisions that prohibits discrimination on the basis of gender identity, particularly on the members of the LGBTQ+. Nonetheless, while the law is quiet on the gender identity and expression, it is clear in its declaration of policy, Article 3, that the state shall afford protection to labor, promote full employment, ensure equal work opportunities. Clearly, the mandate for equal opportunity in employment is clear, but the reality shows a different picture since members of the LGBTQ plus encounter hardship in accessing work opportunities because of discrimination. The absence of the national law that explicitly prohibits discrimination on the basis of gender identity makes it easier for employers to hide behind fabricated reason for not accepting, firing, and depriving members of the LGBTQ plus of their employment benefits. Often, policies on uniform, documents, and use of comfort rooms are being against members of the LGBTQ plus employees and even applicants. B. CSC number 01-0940 or the Civil Service Commission's policies of anti-sexual harassment. The Civil Service Commission's administration disciplinary rules on sexual harassment cases includes other less grave, punishable offenses. This includes prohibiting derogatory and degrading remarks or innuendos directed towards the members of one sex, one sexual orientation, or used to describe a person. This rule applies to all the government entities that fall under the civil service jurisdiction. The policy is important because it explicitly covers derogatory remarks regarding sex, sexual orientation, or other remarks that are used as descriptions of a person with the intention to insult. In addition, the policy for government agency does not require that the offer has moral ascendancy over the victim. Assessment 1. Why do we need to protect and promote the rights of the members of the LGBTQ+? Second, what can we do to further the protections and protection of the members of the LGBTQ+ at home, in the school, and in your community? In summary, the Philippines have various anti-discriminatory policies for members of the LGBTQ+. However, these policies are not yet sufficient, and a national law on anti-discrimination is still wanted. Cases in the CS already involve topics and issues of LGBTQ+, making this matter of high importance already. Nonetheless, the rampancy of discrimination of members of LGBTQ+ are prevalent, a huge issue that the Philippines must address.